Hi, it's Nick McNamee,
Michael Milano.
Gitta Sivander of Silvander Coaching.
That's right. Nice
and
to meet you.
Today we're going to be discussing coaching in general, and then a ton of different things about where coaching has gone, what we do, and learn a lot about you and how we connect with the community as a whole.
I'm the founder of Sivander Coaching LLC. Do have some colleagues I work with. I bring them in for expertise areas that I'm not an expert in, but I'm always the one who will have that initial call. And it is for people that are really curious and want to learn more and have an internal commitment to wanting to make a change.
Yeah, that's cool. So what you do is your discovery call is more or less figuring out if you're the right coach for them, and if not, who would be, based on what...
Goes both directions, actually.
Yeah,
It's
cool.
not just if I'm the right coach for them, but are they the right client for me?
Right.
It has to go both directions. So really learning more about each other and finding out if I can provide what they are looking for, but also if they are the client that I can actually serve.
Since that's had to have had some trial and error to it to get to that point.
Yes, definitely. I mean, I started in 2007, and it's been a long journey of learning. And given that I've had a very different career beforehand, it was like a complete new start. And we never stop learning. We're still learning and still make mistakes. And I think this is part of being human. And it also shows that no coaching client needs to be perfect. They can come with all their discrepancies and mistakes that they have made or parts that they don't feel good about, and just bring all of who they really are.
It's almost more powerful to be imperfect. You know, you're so much more relatable to people. You can really connect with people. Like, we're all human. We all make mistakes. When you see someone that's like in a vulnerable state, or like showing really being a real person that has the same types of struggles that everyone else has, that's something that is powerful. I think that people spend too much time trying to be perfect because it's impossible.
It is very true. You've got a lot of insights. It sounds like you have received coaching yourself.
I read a lot in that field. I feel like it's my responsibility to our clients, and Nick being a newer agent, but I'm also a parent, so I don't have it all figured out. I'll be the first one to tell you that. And there's lots of room for improvement, and I think that identifying that and being completely open to that is the start. I mean, that's got to be that's probably where people are at when they reach out to you.
It's also the big difference between consulting and coaching. In consulting, we have to figure it out. We are the experts, we have the answers, we know exactly what we should tell the client, and they have to follow the consulting program, so to say. But in coaching, it's not like that. In coaching, as a coach, you walk in and are completely open to what the client's bringing, and each client is new. So each coaching relationship is very different. So it's this triangular coaching relationship between the client, the coach, and then the relationship itself, which creates that beautiful connection. And every time you start working with a new client, it's like you are a blank paper, you have no idea what will happen. Versus when you are coming in as a consultant, and I have done that partially before as well, and like in presentation coaching that was part of it, more skills-based, which is a little bit more like consultation. You're telling the client what to do.
Yeah. Sounds like, I mean, that's applicable to what we do. We prefer the relationship style of a transaction because we don't know how we can help people until they tell us how they need to be helped. And some people need to be helped in a consultative way. They just need to be told what to do, and hands off, we're going to do whatever you say. But that's maybe 1 out of 10 or 20, because something like a real estate transaction is such a deep rooted, like really emotional transaction. You have to serve a lot of different things besides you want to sell your house or you want to buy a house, and we'll get you there, because there's so many ups and downs and parts. Like, we do this every day, but it's maybe the first or only time people do a transaction, or maybe they did one 10 years ago. But there's so much that goes into it that you have to be considerate of all of those things. And Nick and I are really good at that. And it's important to us to do it the relationship way, because the way we view our clients and just the whole transaction in general, and that's also agents on the other side and their clients, is it's all about them having the best experience possible, and how can we lend ourselves to that being the outcome.
Right. And sounds like you're doing a really human and beautiful approach in your work.
Reading through your questions, I mean, you're a very fascinating individual, and to be a member of our community, I mean, we are the tapestry of Marin. I mean, you're from Germany originally.
That's right, Germany and Sweden.
And we were reading through your questions. You were in the circus for 2 years in Paris.
That's right.
Doing
acrobatics and trapeze. Those were my two main areas. I did some flute as well. I combined acrobatics with flute playing.
Okay.
But I was already an acrobat from very early on. I did acrobatics on horses called vaulting.
Yeah.
And then when I studied in Göttingen in Germany, I did it with people, and then I just wanted to take it further and found the circus school in Paris, and then from Paris it led me to the United States.
And then you're in San Rafael, and then this calling occurred. And I mean, from our interactions, your ability to connect with somebody is it's palpable. And then you take that with your experiences, and you become this coach that affects people's lives for the betterment. I mean, where does that passion come from? Where do you see it going in the next few years? I mean, COVID, you're so relevant right now because our connectedness in the community, and what you do is so important because we've been so disconnected because of this pandemic.
Right. Well, you asked me where I was coming from. You shared where we are now. Where am I going with this, or where are we going with this? Looking back at how it started, I was invited in to use my skills from being a performer myself and help entrepreneurs be better speakers and presenters. So in 2007, I started out with presentation coaching and speaking coaching, which led me to also help people with their TED Talks and to be good presenters both for entrepreneurs as well as within companies, and went all the way up to C-level executives. And I noticed that while I love the work and I love helping others feel comfortable in front of the camera or with other people, exactly. I also really like the depth of behavior change, and I've always been fascinated of psychology. Even though I looked into studying psychology, I didn't think that was a good idea because it was just very heady, and I like the physical aspect of like the whole, like the body-mind connection, like we are one, right? We're not just that. And so over the years, since 2007, a lot has changed, and I added in executive coaching and went through more training to become a leadership and executive coach, a coactive leadership and executive coach. As we talked about, this triangular relationship is that coactive relationship. So that's brought me to the place where I'm right now. I'm actually combining my background in presentation skills with behavior change and helping my clients to really succeed in reaching where they want to go, the change that they want to achieve, and where they want to head next. Looking at that where we're right now here with COVID, it's a really interesting place where all of a sudden everybody's changing. Everything is changing. It wasn't like that before. Before it was like, oh, there's somebody who wants to go through career change, or business is not going the direction it wants to go. But now there's like everybody's going through change. I hear over 50% of all the employees want to change their job or would like to retire early. And so there's not a single person I know that hasn't at least thought about what change needs to occur. Doesn't mean that we actually make that leap, but we think about it. So our world state right now is very like vibrating, and it's moving, and where we're going to go with that. And so there's a lot of individual and teams as well who need support in this. Teams particularly needing to reconnect after they have been separated and been at home, and so get to meet back in the office. There's a different dynamic going on. People have left, new team members have to be onboarded, but also this insecurity of like, what's here right now? Where are we actually right now? So team building is a very important aspect, both for very small groups as well as larger groups. And with that comes always looking at the individual as well. You can't just look at the team without really addressing individual people. So helping make that decision, get the clarity on like, where do you want to go next? What's most important? And aligning that not just with your head, but with the integrity of all of who you are, so that we can make choices that make us feel fulfilled long term. And not just a moment of like, oh, I choose this because money is there, and actually not really valuing that, but I feel the pressure. So of course we want to put that into account as well, but looking at bringing overall fulfillment to the table so that there can be a long-term satisfaction in the next path that people take, or in whatever they're doing. Maybe they're not changing path, they're just changing the attitude around it or the perspective.
A lot of people are really good at what they do, but as far as putting themselves in a position to display that to a larger audience, no, it's not. It's not like a strong suit for most people because they're so in their day-to-day grind.
Well, there's the three different buckets we talk about, as you're probably very familiar with, which is marketing, sales, and fulfillment. And people who are good in one are not necessarily good in the other. And as coaches, we tend to be really good at being with people, being in the fulfillment compartment of connecting and talking and doing the actual work. But we're not necessarily good at sales or marketing. And so we need to learn that if we work for ourselves, unless we work for other companies or like big companies like Better Up, which is a whole different game, which is very anonymous. You never meet the people you work with. They could be anywhere worldwide. And you're just part of this big machinery. But if you want to work more with really getting to know people and having a deeper connection and being available more than just those hours that are set. Like in my coaching, I really enjoy making myself available to my clients to even have a conversation over the weekend if it's needed, because sometimes things come up on a Friday and then it needs to be processed on a weekend.
So how would you describe what your types of clients that you work with are? Like what do they, how do they come to you? What kind of fields are they working in, and how do you help them?
So most of my clients these days are either executives like yourself, you're executives within your company here, they are employees, or they're part of a team. And they are small, very small businesses, and they are also in companies throughout the Bay Area. I also work with consultants and any individual who's looking to either get more clarity on where they want to go with a business, or they feel like they want to change the business. It's usually business related. Of course, we cannot extract the personal lives either, because personal business are always like they're one package that come hand in hand. So sometimes it ends up being more personal coaching. But the original goal setting was around them wanting to make change for themselves in their professional lives, or for the business goal that they have for the business that they're running or that they're a team member of.
Do you see a correlation between it's like their business is their focus, and they're like, oh, I want to make a change, or there's a change happening in this, and then they find out through coaching that they're really inquiring about themselves and getting through all of these stories. And once those are really cleared up, everything in their business life just kind of opens up, because they've dealt with it on this side of the table, and it just is reflected out into their day-to-day life and honestly their business. It starts with that. I mean, do you see that with a lot of your coaching clients?
All the time. I would say 80% of my clients, that's what happens. It's like they often don't know what to bring to the table. They're like, it sounds like this goes into another category. I should probably not address this. And I'm just like, let's open up that can of worms too. Let's just
Yeah.
see what's there and if we want to go there or not. And then we may have a session that's a little bit out of the direction they thought that they would be going. And that actually opens up the part that they needed in order to be able to be more available in their business, or to see that it wasn't actually a business problem, it was an internal boundary that they had, or an inhibition that they didn't notice before.
Yeah.
It's 80%
blind spot.
Yes, we all have blind spots,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Some of them are directly business related, but since we are people, we always bring our whole selves. We can never just say like, okay, I'm gonna leave my private person at home and I'm just gonna bring my business self to this. It's not how we work. We would be schizophrenic if that's what we would be doing.
Yeah.
So we are whole and connected, and so we bring all of us, and that's what we address, all parts in business. I mean, in the coaching conversation.
It's really like inspiring to hear that you provide this to just people in the community, and now with things going so virtual, access to this type of inquiry, let's call it, is all is online. But if somebody were to like reach out and want to reach out, what would their landing look like? They reach out via email.
Yes, so they reach out via email, which is my name, Gitta, at sivandercoaching.com.
Okay, we'll put that in the link here, so you guys will be able to, if you're on the other side of this camera and are inquiring about it, her email will be in here, and you just reach out to her, and then...
Email is best.
Yeah.
And then just let me know what you're reaching out about, and a little bit of context of the situation. And then I will get back to you within 24 hours, and we'll set up a discovery call, and we'll find out in that discovery call what it is that you're looking for and what I can provide, and see if we might be a match for coaching. And if we are, and you decide to work with me, and I decide that I might be of good support for you, then we can start a coaching relationship. And how that evolves and develops, that depends on what it is that you're looking for. So at times the coaching relationship is 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. We do not decide that ahead of time. Anything less than 3 months is too short to actually really make a change. So minimum is 3 months. But there is also some room to see if it's every week or twice a week, less than twice a week. I'm gonna skip this part. It's either weekly or every 2 weeks, meaning twice a month.
Got it.
So if you do twice a month, then you have more focus on actually applying it to work directly. And if you need a quick change, then meeting weekly would be a good one. And so I engage with my clients on a month-to-month basis. I don't sell a big program for 9 months or a year at a time. Some of my colleagues do that. However, I believe that as the coaching relationship grows, my clients get to see if this is what they really want, and if it's what they want more of. And then I have clients staying up to, well, my longest client now is getting close to 3 years.
Fantastic.
Which is not the average at all. It's just the extreme one side. Some breaks in between, and then we may just catch up once a month, but starting out more frequently in the beginning. Most of my clients work with me between 6 to 9 months.
Beautiful.
That's a really healthy relationship, because it shows that you're doing the work, they're making the progress, they're taking what you're helping them with and applying it and moving on.
That's right. So I do encourage my clients to move on, and sometimes they move on and come back with new insights, and that's fine too. And then sometimes moving on, but like checking in or having like a catch-up session every 2 to 3 months may happen as well. It depends on the individual, and some people just need more support. It's so complex, and they don't really have anybody to get this mirror that helps them see what they're doing and who they are in their work, and then they can get that in the coaching relationship.
I love it. Well, thank you, Gitta, for joining Mike and I. And just, it's always just nice to meet people who are up to things and in our community, and just giving back. I mean, without local business owners doing what they do and what they love, we would have people in their homes driving to and from work. That's probably true, but it wouldn't create a lot of happiness and joy. And that's what I'm here for, actually, bringing back more joy and fulfillment to professionals and individuals that have come to the plateaued out and just feel like this is not it. There's more for me in this. That's what I like to do.
You literally pull people out of the different kind of circus And
I like that comment.
Yeah.
you know what you're looking at.
Yeah.
You've been there, lived that life.
Yeah.
Let's take it from the circus to the actual work circus.
Yeah, like put them on the road to success and some structure. Well, thank you so much for what you do.
You're very welcome. Thank you
Yeah.
for inviting me to be here with you today.
Oh, it's our pleasure.
Thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure.
Of course.
Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in today. Michael Milano, Nick McNabo, M&M Bay Area, and Gitta.
Gitta Sivander, I'm here too.
Yeah.
In Marin.
Yeah, in Marin. And if you need to reach out and make a connection, feel free to reach out directly. Your email is going to be in the link below, or just call Mike and I, and we're happy to make the connection for you.
Looking forward to connecting with you.